Someone very smart once told me, the last 100 days are as important as the first 100 days. We all talk about the first 100 days. You're joining a company, the last 100 days, how to manage transition, exit, when to do it gracefully, professionally, is as important.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the SaaS Revolution Show, brought to you by SaaStock, the conference that helps SaaS companies get traction, growth, and scale. I'm your host, Alex Theuma, and I'll be looking at what it really takes to build and grow a SaaS company today, and how founders and entrepreneurs stay healthy on the journey. Now on with the show.
Welcome to SaaStock 2023. We're doing a live edition of the SaaS Revolution Show podcast. I'm your host, Alex Theuma, CEO, founder of SaaStock, joined today by Amir Orad, chairman and former CEO of Sisense. And you're coming to your first SaaStock in Dublin. What are your thoughts so far?
I love the ducks.
You love the ducks? It's good, yeah. We've just been, for those that are listening to the audio, we've just been photobombed by a 6-foot duck.
I think it's a 8-foot duck.
8-foot duck.
But yeah.
Very good. Well, ducks are the most popular animal in SaaS, but you were on stage.
I thought it's unicorns.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Well, that's a mythical animal.
Yeah.
But you were just on stage. Actually, our first speaker on the Scale stage, opening the show with Ryan Floyd and Matt Kretzman, who's the MC. He sort of mentioned that you know, kind of like getting to 100 million obviously is no easy feat. But if you do it twice, you clearly know like what you're doing. You've got a strategy. You've done that twice, north of 100 million. Can you? I'm starting like with a sort of like big question. We'll break it down. But like, can you distill maybe some of the points that's kind of like helped you be able to do that? You know, twice.
Wow. So we did not prepare for this, by the way.
Yeah.
So this is totally ad hoc. Maybe the biggest insight is there is no single playbook.
Yeah.
Which means that to succeed, you have to challenge the status quo and reinvent many things often in product, go-to-market, people, leadership, positioning. And that act of reinvention is beautiful, it's challenging, it's difficult, but it's rewarding. Yeah. And I think people say as you get large, you get stagnation, you know, the very large companies. Yeah. Until Satya came to Microsoft and reinvented the whole thing, right? The cloud, the culture, everything, it was stuck. Yeah. Even at a smaller size of 20 mil, 50 mil, 100 mil, you have to reinvent yourself all the time. That's maybe the one nugget I'll give you.
And in terms of reinventing yourself, but also like the company. So let's talk, obviously a big theme at SaaStock this week, but this year is generative AI, right?
Yep.
And so with Sisense, it's quite a mature company and a mature product, which I'm sure is developing all the time. Are you having to reinvent the Sisense product to incorporate generative AI?
So first, what Sisense is all about is embedded insights, analytics inside other people's products so they can service their own clients. Yeah. So 3 years ago, we learned that natural language, this is before Gen AI, natural language is becoming mature technology. Yeah. And we started to build what's called NLP and NLG and NLQ, which are all case words for natural language processing, natural language queries, and natural language generation. Yeah. So we taught the system to accept questions in English, show me my revenue in Europe last year, translate it to the data, the semantic layer, and give answers. That was before Gen AI. And it worked well, and people love it. Humans, for some reason, like to speak in English, not in SQL, right? Not in SQL. Gen AI came about, and we started to think, what the heck is this new thing? It's definitely disruptive. Look, I've been on the internet from '92, so I'm dating myself. Yeah. And I recall logging into the internet, it was called Usenet back in the day, and saying, wow, that's how I felt when I saw ChatGPT. But what will it do to our business was a question we did not have a clear answer. And we realized ChatGPT is not only an engine to ask questions, it's actually a repository of all of humanity's data, accessible by asking a question. What war happened in Ireland 300 years ago? Poof, gives you the answer. So created an interface, you can query ChatGPT for data, like you query a database like Snowflake, and get the answers in a table like in Snowflake. That was our insight or understanding how you can combine ChatGPT with data analytics technologies. outside natural language, which is obvious.
And do you so you've got, from the one hand, the mature companies that are having to incorporate generative AI, and do you think that's becoming table stakes? But then every SaaS company now that is being born from this era will have to be Gen AI sort of, I don't know, like
if
born
you
AI.
If you will not be AI native, you will be dead, period. It's like, I recall the internet we had, do you remember, maybe you don't, .com companies and the other companies? Do you know any company not .com these days?
No.
I mean, that's it. They died because if you didn't leverage the internet, they died. Same with mobile, same with AI. The beauty of AI is there's two places you can leverage it, unlike the internet. You can leverage it in your product, and you can leverage it in your business. I'm telling you that right now, AI is doing a better job than what entry-level positions in my business did up until recently. In SDR work, in content creation work, in basic data analysis, in basic data engineering, in basic quality assurance. It's amazing. It's amazing. Who would not, if you play basketball, would you not take steroids if they're illegal? We just got steroids for startups, and they're legal, and they're free. It's free. So it's amazing. If you don't leverage it, the heck out of it, you will be out of business. Well,
speaking of, obviously, you've helped two companies scale up, 17x Sisense revenue, and so know the scale-up space sort of like super well. Obviously, we're at SaaStock, like it's quite a lot of like early-stage companies, the startups. And then yesterday we were at the SaaStock founder membership sort of day where you came in as sort of as a mentor. Obviously, there's sort of Chatham House rules yesterday, but like in your advice of like the companies that are scaling to 10 million and maybe some of the problems that they're facing, like what were some of the things that you were seeing, sort of themes, and your kind of advice to kind of like help people?
So first, before I scaled two companies, I was a founder. And I went through the entire shitty founder process, which means we ran out of money. Literally, we couldn't pay anyone. Our product failed twice. Total failure. We had to pivot twice. I went through every possible shit show you can imagine. 9/11 happened back then, and so on. So I have been in those shoes from zero revenue and even negative revenue at some point. Some of the biggest learnings I had back then, and they're still relevant today when I advise companies. Number one, it's about reinventing yourself again and again and again until you hit gold. And sometimes, even after you hit gold, you have to do it again. One of our first mistakes, first company, we hired an external CEO to save the day. This was, by the way, we're so stupid. We're selling to banks, so we thought, who will be the ideal CEO? We hired a CEO that ran a bank to run a startup selling to banks, which is obviously dumb. And he failed. And then we had to fire the CEO. And I learned you cannot hire your way out of finding your product market fit. You cannot hire a salesperson or another person to do it. It's your job. You know the market and the product intimately. And it's your job. When you do it, then you can think of scale and hired help. But that's a mistake many people do. Let's hire VP sales. They will close the first deals. No, they won't. No one can do it besides you.
So talking about product market fit, and this is something, again, I heard in some of the conversations that I had with some of the SaaStock founder members yesterday that we're searching for product market fit, still haven't quite hit it. Like, for you, what is product market fit? And like, what are some of your advice to like how to get there?
So product market fit, for anyone who is not in the business, is trying to throw all sorts of product offerings to the market until something sticks, and sticks repeatedly. Because one-off is not product market fit, it's a product market fluke. And I think the most basic way product market fit is solving someone's real problem that is of high pain and high priority in an elegant way that they'll want to buy it from you. And they're willing to pay money for it, and good money. End of the day, you run a business, and money is the best validation. Having advisors telling you you're great, and having customers for free using your product means very, very little. They have to pay real money. And the hard thing about it is that even when you find it, how do you know it's not a one-off? Or two, or three? How do you know it's really a market? How do you know the market is big enough? How do you know the market is lucrative enough, they'll pay you enough money for your product? That's what it's all about. And it's an art and science. It's gut feeling and numbers. It's hard work. It's hearing no all the time. So I told my son when he became a teenager, I tried to give him dad's advice about dating, which I'm not good at giving advice. But I told him, in my business, I get no 900 times a day, and that's part of my job. And that's part of dating. If you don't ask enough times and not get no enough times, you'll never get a yes. So, by the way, that's my layman dad advice. But it's the same. You have to go and ask and ask and ask until you get enough yes.
And again, just picking up on the things that I've been hearing from the founders that are in Dublin, at SaaStock, no surprise here. 2023 has been, I think, a difficult year. The markets, people are not hitting targets. Feeling a little bit deflated from that. In some cases, hearing that they can't sell their product at all. Marketers are not buying in the mid-range, etc. So 2 questions here. Kind of one, from a leadership perspective. How do you galvanize the team when you're missing targets, when people are not buying, right? And then the second, how do you, when people are not buying, how do you get them to buy, and how do you get back to hitting targets?
I will say something that may make me very unpopular here, and I'm not saying it because I'm after kind of a few exits. It's the best thing that ever happened to a startup this decade, and I'll explain why. If your product does not have a right to exist, you better find it now and not in 5 years and waste 5 years of your life building a product no one needs. Time is precious. Spend it wisely. What's happening now is going to force you to be the best at what you do. And if you survive it, be one of the best out there. And if you don't survive it, assuming it's because of the fact you don't have a good product market fit, not because you have a great product and something else happened. It's a favor because you just saved years of playing with monopoly money, only to find out in a few years, because at some point it will happen, that no one really wants to pay for your product. So in a very painful way, you will learn the most in these very hard conditions. Someone who is paying right now money to buy someone's product, and your job is to be that person. And it will make you work harder, position better, be excellent at what you do, but when you make it to the other side, you're a clear winner in a very tough market. So I know it's hard to say, but I would prefer to know, if I'm going to fail as an entrepreneur, I want to know it now and not in 3 years, because money is free.
So I know I'm sort of jumping around a little bit here, but as we mentioned now, you were the CEO of Sisense, now you're exec chair, and you talked about reinvention earlier. Is this a reinvention of yourself, or what the company sort of needed? Can you explain a little bit of the process of why, after 8 years and 150 million ARR, you decide to kind of move into the exec chair role, and then what is next for you?
No, it's a great question, and the answer is twofold. There's my personal desires, and there's the company needs. So as a company, we just announced a new product launch, which is a developer-led product. A new product launch requires the energy and the stamina of a few good years, 3, 4, 5, especially in a tough market. And I thought to myself, after 8.5 years in the seat, that the amount of energy required and the focus it requires, the company will benefit from someone new stepping in for the next 5 years doing it, than me doing it for another year or 2 or 3. And personally, I felt after 8-9 years, it's about time to make a change. I'm blessed to have had in the company for the last few years someone who is amazing. He was the Chief Product and Technology Officer. He joined 2 years ago as my advisor, then my CPTO, and I asked him to take, and the board asked him to take the leadership position. He will run the next few years leading that product. His background is the right fit for this product. Now I'm his advisor instead of him being my advisor. And I think it's a win-win. I get to do something new after a decade. The company gets new energy, new blood, new focus. And it's a natural time when the new product is coming out.
And do you think, obviously that's the scenario for Sisense and for yourself, but in general, that companies can benefit from a change in leadership, after 8-9 years? Because I mean, you do see often that founders will decide to move into the chair sort of role, like at that point. Maybe they're feeling a bit tired, a bit burnt out, like a little bit stale, and that there could be this injection. So like, is it? Would you say? I don't know, just. Recommended that companies at maybe the 10-year mark or before, they look and start to think about this kind of changing leadership to take you to the next the stage?
As you heard already, I'm a big believer in reinvention and challenging status quo all the time. Very few people are Zuckerberg or Bezos or Gates, and those people can stay for life and reinvent themselves all the time. Yeah. Mere mortals, the rest of the 99.9%, there is some amount of time after which there's value in a new person coming in. The industry average is 5, 6, 7 years. Some founders need to do it earlier because they reach a glass ceiling. This was not my case. This was more of energy and so on. But I do believe you need to ask yourself all the time, looking outside in, is it time? And the best outcome is the founder or the CEO proactively managing a transition, then waiting till it's too late, and then waking up one morning with this phone call on Sunday morning, I need to talk to you, as a board member calling you, we need to talk, let's have this talk. Why go there? Someone very smart once told me, the last 100 days are as important as the first 100 days. We all talk about the first 100 days. You're joining a company, the last 100 days, how to manage transition, exit, when to do it gracefully, professionally, is as important.
And just on the transition plan then, how long did you spend on that? And maybe for those that are listening that are perhaps thinking about like, hey, I've been the founder for 8 years or 10 years, I want to do what Amir has just done. Any recommendations, tips around like time spent or even just your personal experience?
So my best recommendation is not to follow any default recommendation. It's all bullshit. Every case is different. Every case is different. Having said that, I'll share what I did in this specific occasion. I was blessed by having someone I trusted that knows the culture. So it was not a cultural risk like an external hire that was in the business for a while. I have a big presence after 9 years in the business. Sure. So what I did is the minute we made it public, that day, I announced no one is allowed to call me. That day, 0 day heads up. The day we announced, you call the new guy, he calls me if he wants to. Only he is allowed to call me. And I refuse to take calls and emails. So two things happened. First, overnight I was really upset because no one called me. I felt bad, no one wants me, no one cares. Because I told them not to call me. And second, it was my only way to detach myself and the company from being addicted to talk to me. So in our case, it was really important. Behind the scenes, I was available, once a day, twice a day, once a week, up to the new guy. You have to accept that there's no one way of doing things. His personality is different than my personality, which is different than the previous guy's personality. And the way of his doing things is different than mine, and that's okay. And your job is not to correct him, it's to support him. Once I decided to give him the keys, he's the boss. I kept my equity in the company. I believe in him to make it worth more over time. And my job is to make him successful, not to make him like me.
And then I guess kind of final question, what is next? Do you want to get to 150 million for the third time with the third company, or do you want to maybe just make life a little bit easier for yourself? Or are you going to do SaaS again? Obviously, we're in a SaaS conference, but I don't know if that's
wow. Okay, so a few questions you asked. First, so I was a founder once and a CEO twice, and did 200 and 150. I want to do it again and larger scale.
Okay, wow.
I'll probably join a company at a later stage and grow it to who knows what.
A billion.
Who knows. I believe SaaS is the future. The SaaS is not just a business model. It's a contract that says, me, the vendor, will reinvent myself and give you more value every day. You, the buyer, will recommit every year. Imagine marriage and every year you have to renew the vows. It would be way better than the default that by default you're married unless you're not. So I think SaaS is a better business arrangement for all sides. Yeah. And cloud and AI makes it obviously a very valuable offering. So yes, I believe in that space. I believe it's the only way to do modern software. And I plan to be in it, not to be an investor, but to run another company. Which one? Time will tell. I'm not rushing.
You're not having any conversations at the moment, but
I'm getting different calls. Okay. I'm taking my time because if I do things for a decade every time, it better be the right choice for me and for them. Yeah. So I'm taking my time to make sure it's the right team I want to be part of.
I'm sure you'll do it. Well, Amir Orad, chairman of Sisense, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast today.
Thank you. This is an awesome conference, by the way. Everyone should come and see what's going on here.
Cheers. Thanks very much, Amir.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the SaaS Revolution Show. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you learned something from it, check out SaaStock.com/events to find all the upcoming SaaStock conferences around the world. Want exclusive SaaS content and actionable insights to grow your SaaS? Join our community of over 36,000 SaaS founders at SaaStock.com.